We are in our fourth multiple subject with bilingual authorization cohort and our second special education cohort. With the substitute model, we were, the first year that we did it, we just had our residents student teach Monday through Wednesday, and then we told them on Thursdays and Fridays, just go pick up sub jobs. Go on frontline, pick up sub jobs, go sub wherever you want. And they were able to get the $180 sub rate for that. It evened out money-wise. And then this year, we have initiative where we're doing a Bright Futures project, working with Orinda, doing a matrix build, something that is requiring our district to pull in grade levels for some pretty in-depth learning. And we use our residents to substitute to release those teachers for that. So I will show you the schedule for that. It is an absolute beast, but our residents are scheduled to cover so that every Thursday and Friday, one teacher from each site for a grade level can be released to come to the district office and participate in this district-wide professional learning. And so it became something that our district can't do this without our residents because we don't have enough subs.
So you don't have the subs, or you don't have the residents tied to only subbing for their mentor?
No, they can go. And sometimes they're assigned a sub at the site that they're student teaching at, but sometimes they're not. And it's a different grade level every Thursday, Friday. So they get to see the whole gamut of anywhere from TK up through junior high, 8th grade history. And so that is a great experience for them. Because our district can't do this learning without our residents, it was then very easy to ask them to continue paying for the health benefits of our residents, yes. So our first year with our small cohort of 8, my boss went to our cabinet and said, hey, we've got these classified employees that we're now pulling to be part of our residents for a year, and then they're going to go and become teachers for us. So they have a gap year in benefits. What can we do about it? And our district was willing to write it into the LCAP. But then as our residency program grew into 20 residents, the next cohort, the district was a little more hesitant. They did it, but they are a little bit more hesitant to keep paying for health benefits for now 20. But now with us being very strategic with how we're using them as substitute teachers, the district is willing to keep that as part of their LCAP. So our residents, our district provides them top tier benefits for them and their family while they're in their residency. We're a large district and we just did not have enough subs. Or new hired subs will then be put into long-term sub positions, so they're not available for daily subbing. So there was a big issue with not having enough subs, and so then you're pulling instructional coaches, ELD coaches, teachers on special assignments, administrators to fill those vacancies, which then is pulling them out of their job responsibilities. We are very strategic with building the substitute model because it was what our district needed. So we were able to create a model that directly benefited school sites. It supports our district with substitute vacancies and alleviates a lot of the stress that came from not having enough subs. So our model has our residents subbing on Thursdays and Fridays, which tends to be the highest vacancy days or days that teachers tend to take days off. So we have seen less scrambling of HR to get classrooms covered with substitutes with this model in place. There has always been a need for subs, especially high quality subs that you're not going to have a learning loss. Our residents can teach, so there's no learning loss on that day.
So the reason it works, this was my big question, is like how to get residents their benefits, because that's been one of the reasons why we'll have people not come into the residency program. They're like paraprofessionals and they stay as paras because, well, right, because if they're solo, they can get student health insurance through the university. But if they're covering anyone else in their family, like the student health insurance doesn't do that. So it sounds to me that the way you made it work was by intentionally telling the district, strategically telling the district, that these folks would absolutely always be subbing 2 days a week to do this particular, to fulfill this particular initiative that the district was.
Yes. Yes. And even before the initiative started last year, before we started it, telling them that you have 20 guaranteed substitutes every Thursday and Friday, which are the highest absence rates for teachers, was enough to get them to stay on board with paying for the health benefits.
And that's
well.
exclusively for that training program that you have, the professional learning program, right? So it's not like they're subbing other classrooms on need days or anything. Yeah.
No, every now and then there'll be a week that we're not holding the professional
Yeah, that's what I
learning,
was
and so
wondering.
then they just go
Then
and
they
pick
go.
up.
Yeah, okay.
And we track it.
Yeah,
we
good.
have a
Yeah.
report, we track and make sure that
Who does the tracking
they're
for
all
that?
doing that. So it runs through our frontline
Okay, so you do it
absence
through
system, so
frontline?
we just
Yeah.
flag them
Okay.
as residents,
great.
and then every Thursday, Friday, I get a report and see who's where.
And you have a designation built in as resident teacher?
Yes.
Okay. That's throughout your whole IT?
Yes. So with this substitute model, they're still well over their 600 hours for their student teaching. It ends up being, closer to 800 hours that they get for student teaching, even with the substitute.
And then do you have any days built in for because I'm looking there, this is a full commitment Monday through Friday. So do they have any kind of seminar days or special training days that they do throughout the year? Or is this pretty straight? For the residents, not the other
Right.
teachers, yeah.
Once a week, they come to me after student teaching, so they don't get any days off from their student teaching or their subbing all year. It's very rigorous. But once a month, they will come to me for residency professional learning. And then we talk a lot about co-teaching, classroom management, all those, but then they also debrief, and I give them strategies on subbing as well that they can take and use within their subbing.
So are there credential courses in the afternoons and evenings?
In the evenings twice a week. I think the one thing, we get a lot of feedback from our principals who really like having that consistency at their sites for the release. Our residents also release their mentor teachers every other month to come to the district office, and then I do mentor training with them. And so that's been very helpful. That's built into our schedule. And we saw a need for deeper, more regular instruction with that, and I take a gradual release model with my mentors on how to use gradual release and co-teaching with their. And initially we were just doing this beginning of the year kickoff of here's all these co-teaching strategies, okay, go do it, and it wasn't taking off like we wanted to. So now it's twice to 3 times a semester I see them, and we chunk through it. And when we interview and admit, our residents are very much adults who could not obtain their credential without this program. So we have a very rigorous program. The hours are long. We're asking them to do a lot, but they really are willing to do that and put some skin in the game because they couldn't afford to do it the traditional way. And so that's very helpful as well.
And how many cohorts have you guys done under this?
We are graduating our 3rd multiple subject cohort and our 1st SPED cohort. And then cohort 4, SPED 2, is finishing up their foundation semester. And we'll start their residency next year, and then we're recruiting for multiple subject 5 and SPED 3.